First, let's clear up one of the biggest myths. People think avoidants are scared of love, that they run from relationships, that intimacy is too much for them. But here's the truth. Avoidants are not afraid of love at all. What they fear is spending years, giving their entire heart to the wrong person. That's why they've been mislabeled as cold, distant, or emotionally unavailable. But the reality is very different. Avoidants actually feel things deeply, sometimes even more deeply than most. Their struggle isn't with love itself. Their struggle is with safety, and until their nervous system feels safe, every connection, no matter how beautiful it looks on the outside, will always feel dangerous to them on the inside. But here's the twist. You need to understand, when an avoidant finally does trust someone, that bond is never casual. It's primal, permanent. It happens once, maybe in a lifetime, and when it does, it leaves an imprint that lasts forever. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video. Who is that rare type of partner that avoidants can form a forever bond with? How do avoidants secretly test for safety? And why do almost 90% of people fail those tests without even realizing it? If you are an avoidant, or if you've ever loved an avoidant, this is the conversation you've been waiting for. Because the truth is, the bond they form is not loud. It's loyal. It's not flashy. It's forever. So stay with me, because in the next few minutes you're about to discover exactly which type of partner an avoidant chooses to give their heart to for life. Here's why this conversation matters so much. Most of the dating and relationship advice out there actually backfires with avoidance. The world tells you to do the very things that trigger their defenses and push them further away. Think about it. How many times have you heard this advice? Chase harder. Don't let them pull back. Demand answers. Force them to explain their silence. Keep texting until they finally respond. Or the opposite. If they go quiet, punish them with silence. Make them feel your absence. On paper, this might sound like strategy. In reality, it's emotional dynamite. To an avoidant's nervous system, chasing feels like pressure. Pressure feels like danger. And danger confirms their deepest fear, that if they ever trust someone, they'll lose their freedom. Or worse, get trapped in a love that suffocates. So what happens next? The avoidant doesn't just take space. They retreat for good. They shut down. They close the door. And the bond that could have lasted a lifetime dies before it even begins. And you're left sitting there, heartbroken, thinking they never cared about me. But here's the hard truth. That story is wrong. Avoidants do care. They're not impossible. They're not broken. They're not incapable of love. They're careful. They've learned often from a young age that love can hurt if it's unsafe. And once you understand this, everything changes. Because this isn't just about romance. This is about unlocking the most powerful bond a human being can experience, the kind of love that is quiet, loyal and permanent. And here's the cost. When you get it wrong, when you treat an avoidant like a problem to fix, you don't just lose a partner, you lose the once-in-a-lifetime chance to experience a forever bond that most people will never ever know. That's why this matters. Because in this video, I'm not just explaining avoidant attachment in theory. I'm showing you exactly who they bond with forever, why almost everyone else fails, and how you can be the rare one who doesn't. Stay with me, because what's coming next pulls back the curtain on the real truth inside the avoidant mind. Now let's bust the biggest myth about avoidance. People look at them and think, they're cold, they're distant, they don't care. Some even believe avoidants are incapable of intimacy altogether, but nothing could be further from the truth. Here's the hidden reality. Avoidants are not emotionless at all. In fact, many of them feel more than most people. They're deeply sensitive, deeply romantic, and they crave connection just as much as anyone else. The difference is, they learned early in life that showing those feelings wasn't safe. Imagine a child reaching out for comfort, crying, needing closeness, and instead of being met with warmth, they're met with distance, or worse, with rejection. That child's nervous system learns a brutal lesson. If I need less, I'll hurt less. And that lesson doesn't just disappear when they grow up. It follows them into adulthood. So what do you see on the outside? A strong, independent, maybe even detached person. Someone who looks like they don't need anyone. But on the inside, it's a storm. They're not pushing people away because they hate intimacy. They're building walls because intimacy matters so much to them. It feels terrifying to risk it. And here's the paradox. The walls they build aren't stone. They're gates. Gates designed to protect the most vulnerable, tender parts of their heart. Most people make the mistake of trying to break those gates down, chasing harder, demanding more, misinterpreting silence as rejection. But every time you push, you confirm their deepest fear. If I show need, I'll be punished. If I trust, I'll be trapped. The truth is, avoidants aren't running from love. They're running from bad love. Love that clings, controls, or consumes. And when they finally feel safe, when the right person proves that closeness doesn't equal pain, those gates open. And what comes out isn't coldness. It's loyalty, depth, a once-in-a-lifetime bond that lasts forever. This is the hidden truth you need to know. Avoidants aren't broken. They're careful. They're not heartless. They're protecting something incredibly valuable. The capacity to love with a depth and permanence most people can't even imagine. And the question now is, who do they trust enough to open that vault? That's exactly what we'll explore next. So here's the million-dollar question. Who is the partner that can actually unlock an avoidance forever bond? It's not the loudest person in the room. It's not the one who chases, demands, or dramatizes every silence. The avoidant doesn't bond with chaos. They bond with calm. The rare partner has a very specific presence. They're steady. They're grounded. Their energy doesn't spike into panic the moment the avoidant takes space. When silence shows up, they don't spiral into fear. They don't flood the phone with texts. And they don't punish with passive-aggressive comments. Instead, they understand something most people miss. Distance is not rejection. It's breathing space. And because they don't take the space personally, the avoidant starts to relax. Their nervous system, which is always scanning for danger, finally begins to exhale. This partner is also consistent. They don't show up warm one day and cold the next. They don't make promises they can't keep. Their presence is reliable, like a steady rhythm the avoidant can count on. And that steadiness is magnetic. It dissolves fear instead of feeding it. Think of it this way. Most people try to kick the door down. They chase. They demand. They shake the lock until the avoidant retreats even further. But the rare partner, they wait at the gate with patience. And when the avoidant peeks out, they're not met with anger or clinginess. They're met with calm, open acceptance. That's the moment everything shifts. For the first time, the walls that once felt protective start to feel like a prison. And in the presence of this rare partner, the avoidant chooses on their own terms to unlock the gate. Here's the truth. Avoidants only form forever bonding with this type of partner. The one who proves that love isn't a cage. It's freedom. The one whose steady presence whispers the three messages their nervous system has been waiting its whole life to hear. You are safe. You are free. And you are still loved. That's the profile of the rare partner. And in the next part, we'll break down why almost everyone else fails this test. Now let's talk about why almost everyone else fails with avoidance. Because here's the truth. You could be kind. You could be loving. You could have the best intentions in the world. But if you fall into these three traps, the bond will never happen. Mistake number 1. Overchasing. Most people feel the spark with an avoidant and immediately go into panic. They start texting non-stop, calling repeatedly, closing the gap before it even has a chance to breathe. But here's what happens inside the avoidant's nervous system. Chasing feels like pressure, and pressure feels like danger. So instead of bringing them closer, you're actually confirming their worst fear, that love equals losing freedom. And once they feel trapped, they pull back harder. Mistake number 2. Punishing withdrawal. This one is subtle but deadly. Maybe you make sarcastic comments like, "Oh, disappearing again." Maybe you pick fights every time they take space. Or maybe you give them the cold shoulder as payback. To the avoidant, this says one thing loud and clear: my natural rhythm isn't safe with you. And when their rhythm isn't safe, their trust is gone, permanently. Mistake number 3, misinterpreting silence. Avoidants need quiet to regulate, but most people instantly assume silence means rejection, so they spiral, they lash out, they collapse into panic. And what happens? The avoidant sees chaos, yet again proving their belief that closeness equals pain. These 3 mistakes, overchasing, punishing space, and misreading silence, don't just push avoidance away temporarily, they destroy the possibility of ever forming that once-in-a-lifetime bond. Because avoidants don't recycle love stories. When their trust is broken, the vault stays locked for good. And here's why this matters. Avoidants only form forever bonding with a rare type of partner, the one who doesn't fall into these traps, the one who doesn't treat their survival strategy like a problem to fix, but as a rhythm to understand. Most people fail because they come in hot. They push too hard. They make it about their own fear, instead of the avoidant's need for safety. But the rare partner, they know pressure kills connection, and presence builds it. And when you understand that difference, everything changes. In the next part, I'll show you exactly what avoidant love looks like when that forever bond is finally formed, and why it's unlike anything you've ever experienced. So what does avoidant love actually look like when they finally form that forever bond? Here's the first thing you need to understand. It doesn't look like the rom-com version of love. It's not loud. It's not flashy. You won't see constant "I miss you" texts or over-the-top public displays of affection. Avoidant love shows up in whispers, not megaphones. It's steady, it's subtle, but it runs deeper than anything else you've ever experienced. You'll notice it in the small gestures. Maybe they quietly adjust their schedule just to protect your time together. Maybe they fix something for you without announcing it. Maybe in a rare unguarded moment, they reach for your hand. To an outsider, these things might look small, but to the one they've bonded with, it feels seismic, because these are not random actions. These are avoidant love notes, written in behavior instead of words. Once an avoidant has chosen you, you're no longer just a partner, you're part of their inner circle, their pack. And just like wolves, once the pack is chosen, loyalty becomes lifelong. They don't parade it, they live it. Their wolves, which once kept everyone out, transform into wolves that now protect the bond itself. This is the paradox. Avoidants might look detached to the world, but once bonded, they integrate their partner into their nervous system. They protect them. They defend the relationship. They don't fall in and out of love 10 times a year. They may only truly bond once, and when they do, it's primal, permanent, unshakable. And here's why this matters. Avoidants only form forever bonding with a rare type of partner, and when they do, that bond isn't temporary, it isn't casual, it rewires their entire experience of love. From that moment on, you're not just someone they're dating, you're home. That's what forever bonding looks like. And in the next part, I'll show you how to recognize if you are the one they've chosen for life. Now let's get practical. If avoidants only form forever bonding with a rare type of partner, the question becomes, how do you actually become that partner? How do you show up in a way that makes their nervous system say, "Finally, I'm safe"? Step 1. Regulate yourself. When an avoidant pulls back, most people panic. They spiral. They chase. They demand answers. But this only convinces the avoidant that closeness equals chaos. The rare partner does the opposite. They breathe. They stay calm. They send the silent message. Your distance doesn't scare me. I'm steady. That calmness is magnetic. It dissolves fear instead of feeding it. Step 2. Respect their space without disappearing. This is a delicate balance. Most people either cling or vanish, but the rare partner says, "Take the space you need. I'll be here when you're ready." That one sentence is gold to an avoidant. It tells them they can have freedom and connection at the same time. Step 3. Show consistency over and over. Avoidants have lived through broken promises and love that came and went. Their nervous system is constantly testing, will you still be here tomorrow, next week, next month? Every time you show up reliably, every time you keep your word, you're stacking bricks of trust until the wall becomes a doorway. Step 4. Accept them as they are. The rare partner doesn't try to mold, fix, or control the avoidant. They love them without trying to reshape them. And in that acceptance, the avoidant finally feels free enough to choose closeness on their own terms. This is the blueprint. You don't become the one by chasing harder, begging louder, or trying to break through walls. You become the one by being calm, consistent, and safe. That's what opens the gate. That's what turns survival walls into a lifelong bond. And in the next part, I'll show you exactly what's at stake when you get this wrong, and why the consequences are higher than most people realize. Here's the truth. Most people don't want to hear. Avoidants don't hand out second chances. If you make the classic mistakes, overchasing, punishing their space, misinterpreting their silence, you don't just mess up for a week, you lose their trust permanently. Once their nervous system decides it's not safe with you, the vault locks, and it doesn't open again. That's the cost of getting it wrong. Not just losing a relationship, but losing the chance at a once-in-a-lifetime bond. Because remember, avoidants only form forever bonding with one rare type of partner, and if you fail that test, you may never be invited into that circle again. But here's the flip side, the reward for getting it right. When you show calm instead of panic, when you give space without vanishing, when you prove consistency again and again, their nervous system does something incredible. For the first time in years, maybe even decades, it exhales, it relaxes, it whispers, "Finally I'm safe." And in that exact moment, the walls that once felt impossible to cross, they come down, not temporarily, not conditionally, permanently. That's when the forever bond is formed. And if you're the partner who unlocks it, you're not just in a relationship, you've become their chosen one. Their loyalty is for life. So now the question isn't about them, it's about you. Are you ready to be that rare partner? The one who doesn't panic, doesn't punish, doesn't push. The one who knows how to unlock a love that lasts forever. If this resonates with you, drop a comment right now. Do you think you could be that rare partner? I want to hear your take. And don't just keep this to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to understand avoidance better. Hit like if this opened your eyes, and subscribe, because in the next video, I'm going to show you exactly how to stay connected during their withdrawal, without pushing them away. This is high stakes. Get it wrong, and the bond is gone forever. Get it right, and you unlock the deepest, most permanent love of your life. The choice is yours.